that joy isn't just in the successes or this external state. Like that's more what happiness is. Happiness is maybe more associated with like the things or the externals, where joy is like actually who we are. So
Yeah.
instead of it being tied into what we're doing, it's tied into who we are being.
Welcome to the Bold Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Jen Kinal, and this is a space where bold moves meet inspired action. Join us as we dive into stories, strategies, and mindset of those who are building their dreams, creating impactful communities, and redefining success on their terms. Whether you're looking for practical business tips, a boost of inspiration, or a community that gets your vision, you are in the right place. Get ready to elevate your journey and embrace what it means to be a bold founder. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Bold Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Jen Kinal, and today we are diving into something that is so crucial for all of us in business, and that is joy. So many of us get lost in lost in the hustle, the chasing of goals and pushing forward, that we kind of forget the process of like enjoying what we're actually doing. And so my guest today is somebody who truly embodies the power of joy in business and in life. Jillian Schecher is a joy educator and mentor, author of the Daily Joy Journal, and creator of the Joy Method. She empowers individual teams and communities to build lives and businesses that feel as good as they look. Her work has also impacted major brands like Lululemon, Fairmont Hotels, and Google, helping them realign with purpose and create success from the inside out. Jillian's own journey through sobriety and transformation has given her a deep understanding that joy isn't a feeling, it's a powerful strategy that can change everything. Jillian, I am so excited to have you to our show and to dive in. I have so many questions for you. I cannot wait to talk.
I know. How many hours do we have?
I know I've got a lot of questions. So I was like, I'm going to put them all there and then maybe I'll narrow it down depending on how much time we go through.
I love it. I love it, Jen. I'm so
So
happy to be here. Thanks for asking me.
I'm so excited for this. Honestly, this is going to be the best conversation.
Yes.
Okay, so my question for you is, let's start with like just explaining a little bit about your journey and how you became a joy educator for those that are new to you.
Oh my goodness, this feels like a loaded question.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, it's meant to be loaded. So for me, like I feel like I've always been a joyful person. And when I look back on my life, I can see the places and I say where I left joy by the side of the road. So, I was raised in, a loving family, but it was an alcoholic home. There was a lot of codependency, and I learned from a very young age that I needed to sacrifice it's not like anyone was saying you have to sacrifice yourself, but I made everyone else around me the priority to make sure that they were okay so that I felt okay. Yeah. So lots of, sacrifice, lots of overlooking of my own feelings. I really didn't feel like my feelings mattered when I was younger for a variety of reasons, which I don't think is that uncommon, to be honest with you. But it did kind of shape and mold me into, a young woman who did have a lot of codependency, a lot of people pleasing, those sorts of behaviors. And when I was younger, so when I was about 31, my dad died of a heart attack and my whole world exploded. It felt like at that time I could sense that I left myself. Like I didn't even know how to cope with that at all. And so I kind of went to make sure everyone else was okay. And, that led me further and further away from myself. And I started drinking every day to just kind of cope. At the time, I was a hairstylist and, I was working with people all day. And I really felt like I was lying. Like I had to pretend that I was okay, but I wasn't feeling okay. So then after work, I'd come home, have a glass or two or three of wine and just really try to cope by numbing the feelings. It was just really, really hard. And I think anyone who's lost a close loved one knows what I'm like, that feeling of the world exploding. And then like, how do you even move through that? I just did not have the tools to move through it. And so that led me, further and further away from me until by the end of my drinking, I was blacking out almost every single night and, would look to my husband to see, what I had done, what I had said, to see if I was okay, and so several years later, I had what I call my 3 dark nights of the soul, not just one, because, abundance. And And that was the point where I really came back home to myself, where I reclaimed my joy. And it was felt like a spiritual experience for me because I was so disconnected from myself. When this rock bottom happened for me, I it's like I finally befriended myself and I connected more deeply with spirit or God, however you want to say. I was reading a book by Marianne Williamson called The Divine Law of Compensation, and she talked a lot about forgiveness in it, and so I was working through like my own atonement of like forgiveness and compassion around knowing that like I could take what I had learned from that experience and move it forward. And if I did that, then it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It could actually be the best thing in the world. And that's really what I did is from that time forward, that's where I reconnected with joy. And then I started on this path, this joy journey, if you will, of feeling, and then all these steps that I now call the joy method. But it really started with feeling. It started with my courage to feel my feelings, to begin to like unthaw and feel the grief and the guilt and the shame, be able to explore that, allow those feelings to move through to get to the other side, to joy. And so for me, joy isn't just like, again, it's not a feeling. You had said, shared that in the bio. It's actually who we are. Joy is from all the people I've worked with. And I feel like I'm doing real life research. Like I should be a joy doctor. Sometimes I think about going back to school. Like I've got my undergrad in psych, but I think about like I should get a PhD so I can call myself a joy doctor. You never know, Jen. It could happen.
You
Um,
could.
but I feel like I have so much real life research. And the one thing I've learned through working with all my clients and students is that joy is different for everyone. It is unique to everyone. There's a lot of commonalities. So what I say is joy is alignment with how we want to feel, and it's also who we are. So like I feel like when I let everything fall away and I came back home to my heart and I started to feel again, I really recognized that joy is who I am. And this makes sense in terms of not just the bright shiny stuff, but actually even through those power walks, which feel really awful, it's like that ability to feel like grief and joy simultaneously, that ability to be in the darkness but also feel so hopeful as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So answer number one.
So one of the things that I really love about this podcast is listening to the stories of how women transform in their lives, but also in their business. And I think yours is a really good representation of something that people can really relate to, but also just like going through something that's really hard and really heavy, and then coming out on the other side and seeing that as a path that you needed to walk through, but also one that really shaped who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, listening to that feeling and that energy and the power and knowledge of what you've gone through, and then using that to create like your joy method, the joy journal, and to help other people because of it. So I think that's probably one of my favorite things about this podcast is just sharing those stories, because we always see on social media, here we are now, present day, but we don't get to see the struggles, and we don't get to hear the hardships and the things that like really are really, really hard and awful to go through, but they really did shape who we are.
Yeah, I love it, Jen. And it's why I have my podcast, the Joy Journey podcast, is literally to share that pain to power story, because we all have them. And I
Mhm.
agree, it's so easy to see like the highlight reel. But also knowing like, okay, but where did that come from? Because generally the clarity that we experience and the bright, celebrations are a result of some sort of contrast that, the pressure cooker that kind of instigated us into that path in the first place. So yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. I love, love, love it.
Yeah. Okay, we talked a little bit about this before we started hitting record, so I kind of want to touch on it in the podcast. But hustle culture, you and I have actually been talking about this for like quite a bit because we both feel it. Like there's such a hustle culture in business and in the entrepreneurial space. And so I wanted to hear what your thoughts are on hustle culture and how we can shift our mindset to embrace more joy in our work.
Oh my God. Okay. So
This is a
first
good
of
one.
all, this is such a good one because it's interesting when you were speaking, I was like, ugh, hustle culture. But I also deeply know how much work is required to be an entrepreneur and to be in business. Like it is no joke.
Hmm.
So I feel like just with everything else, it's the harmony of the doing and the being. And in my realm, so the joy work that I do, the joy method, the joy journal is really about bringing that sense of presence into our lives and our businesses, because otherwise you get to the end of your life and it's gone and you don't even like, you spent the whole time hustling.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm just over it. I'm just
Me too.
generally over it.
Yeah.
Um, and I also deeply respect inspired action. So, in the joy method, one of the steps is action. And, when I started the joy sessions in my living room in 2018, women were coming in and we were doing this work and they were leaving, but there was something missing. And the piece that was missing in, law of attraction and mindfulness, like my kind of area, my joy zone, was the action. So I think it's not just that we're doing all of the time, because that obviously is going to lead to burnout, the
Yeah.
need to perform, the need to be like the need for success, whatever that is. I think what this is an opportunity for us to redefine success. Like what I work on with my clients and students is, what does sustainable success look like and feel like? What does it look like to feel good on the way to your goals and dreams? So this is what I call the joy-based values, is like knowing how you want to feel along the way so that you're experiencing that success every single day, because we both know life is short. So for
Yeah.
me, it's like, how do I most want to feel? What do I most want to experience? And then what are the inspired actions that support me in creating momentum toward those desires, honoring how it feels along the way? So it's no longer, when we're setting goals, it's not just I want to experience X. It's like I want to experience X and feel aligned, flowing,
Yeah.
abundant, happy, joyful, whatever those deeper desires are. So I'm over hustle culture. I feel like I don't want to do just to do anymore. It's not just this like habitual, it's almost like a trauma response.
Hmm.
In the shamanic path, we talk about stalking, like people who are stalkers versus dreamers, not like ring, 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 but like actually stalking out their dreams, like a cat, like a big cougar or lion, right?
Yeah.
So it's like stalking out your dreams and doing versus dreaming. And I think there's room for both. I think, like, in terms of, joy and the alignment with what we dream and desire, first we need to have space to dream. Then we need to like take that space to dream. And then it's like, what are the inspired actions that support my alignment with this experience, that feel good along the way? Like, to me, we are here to feel good. If it's not feeling good, you're doing something wrong. Or there's the common misconception that feeling good means like feeling comfortable. Okay, like I'm giggling because
Hmm.
we both know in entrepreneurship, like you're very rarely ever comfortable. I don't think we're here in this lifetime to be comfortable. I think comfort is actually killing us. I think we are here to grow and learn and evolve. So feeling good to me means feeling aligned with like my soul purpose. And that very rarely feels like comfortable. I'm moving myself through discomfort a lot of the time to show up and share my message, because I've got like a really big mission. No big deal to light up the world from the inside out, to light up the world like a field full of fireflies, no big deal. But I feel like that mission, that soul desire often can pull me out of alignment, because it gets me into doing, because there's so much to do.
Yeah.
But what I need to remember is my mission, our missions require our life force. Like our missions require us. And
Yeah.
so I'm always like making joy a priority for myself. And again, like I'm so humble about the work I do in the world. I'm practicing alongside everyone that I'm teaching simultaneously. So I just know that for all of us, it's actually bringing joy in, making joy, your joy, and how you're feeling your number one priority as you light up the world.
Okay, I really love that you are taking, okay, here's your goals and your dreams, and like this is what our action plans are going to be. However, you are tying that in with the feeling that you're
Yeah.
going along with. And
Yeah.
I think this is beautiful because I don't know, I don't think I ever do that. Like I think
Yeah.
I just have my goals and I'm just going to achieve them, and then like the hustle culture does set in when you're like, okay, check, done, next goal, right? Like we're
Yeah.
no longer giving time to feel the celebration and the like, you did this, congratulations, like tap yourself on the back.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a really beautiful thing. But on the other side of that, it is very easy for somebody to not do that. One, either because they don't know to even think of doing that, but also because we're so busy checking off our list that we forget sometimes like of those feeling goals to tie along with it. So what strategies or things can entrepreneurs like use to implement that more regularly in their
Yeah, I love
business?
that. We're so busy being busy, right?
Mhm.
So I love that you mentioned celebrations. So one of the steps in the joy method is gratitude. And I feel like self-celebration is something we've all been missing. Most of us are taught to dim, to stay quiet, like don't brag, you don't want to appear, like, you're all up in yourself and like it's just something that most of us have been taught. So I really want to deprogram that and celebrate the shit out of ourselves. So in the Joy Journal, in both Joy Journals, but I've also created the leadership edition of the Daily Joy Journal, which really brings in the next level of celebration, I feel, of looking at like what you are calling in each week. So on Manifestation Monday, like what are you calling in this week with your feelings and your focus? And then at the end of the week, reviewing. So what did I create? What did I co-create? What am I celebrating? What are my opportunities for growth, which are typically the things that feel really uncomfortable. Like opportunities for growth are the gross things that don't typically feel good, but there's learning there. So this is what I learned from my sobriety journey is like, if I can glean the learning from this experience, then it's not all for naught. It's
Yeah.
actually purposeful. So we make our challenges, our struggles meaningful by taking the learnings and bringing them forward. So it's also that, like that level of celebration, like what did I create this week? What did I learn this week? And it could be something you do every day. Like, what am I celebrating today? And then being willing to share it with others, because I think also what's required in the new era of leadership is for us to be celebrating each other more too. But I know so many, like a lot of my clients that I work with, I work with people at varying levels. But one typical type of client is the one who is high achieving, who has all the success, has everything that most of us would desire, but is missing the joy. And so that's also how I know that it's so important not just to be setting goals all the time. Part of goal setting is completion, right?
Mhm.
It's like actually looking at like, what did I nail? Where am I winning? What is feeling good? There's so much energy there that we can actually expand very easily. It's one way to raise our vibration, to feel better, and then to call in even more abundance by just simply focusing on like what's going well, what is going
Yeah.
right, where am I growing?
Oh, this is the best ever. Like, I'm so beyond guilty of not celebrating enough. And I've gotten better, but like I think that if we really just sit and like are really grateful for ourselves and what we've done and really celebrate it and be like, you did this. This is amazing.
Yeah.
You are right. We do call in so much more. We also hold ourselves up higher. Like instead of feeling like, okay, we're just on the track of hustling and getting it done. It's amazing how we can just like make ourselves feel better about the work and what we're doing, but also just like feel like that authentic leader that has the authority, right? Like we can feel more confident in ourselves and what we're sharing with our audience versus if we skip those steps, we don't get that.
Yeah.
You actually
Yeah.
get like the opposite effect. You just get more of like go, go, go. And you never said, hey, you did this and
Yeah.
congratulations and look what you achieved and gave yourself that special recognition that you need.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that, Jen. I feel like bringing that energy inward is so powerful for us to like reclaim our energy and our joy. I know that, societally, we're very geared to be external about things, whether it is the goals, the success, the approval and validation. And so, what I love to do is kind of like deprogram that need for it to be an external experience. From my perspective, we do light up the world from the inside out. And so, it's what does it look like to actually give myself the approval and validation that I'm seeking externally?
Yeah.
Like to me that makes us unstoppable when you're like,
Yeah.
actually, good job, girl. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I write in my like, I don't want to swear because I don't know if you are letter E like my podcast is. But like, you're effing awesome, like actually like writing like these love notes to myself. Self celebration is like gratitude on steroids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and I think as a people pleaser, like as you are, and I am also have those
Recovering.
tendencies,
The
recovering.
minute you decide to shift it, we're now in
Yeah.
recovery too. So
Okay.
we're
So we're in
recovering people
recovery.
pleasers.
Yes. But I think as that type of person, you always are looking for external validation. And sometimes I don't even like tell people my successes. So how are you going to get external validation if you didn't even tell anyone? Right? Like,
Talk about effing yourself over.
yeah. So now you're not getting it externally and you're not giving it
You're
to
just
yourself
hustling.
internally.
And I think we've identified like why we would hustle, right? Like
Mhm.
you're striving for something, you want to get to somewhere to have that, that approval or validation, or for people to say like you're amazing, so that like we feel good about ourselves because from a very young age we gave that power over to others.
Yeah.
But I would say like the power walk, like the true joy journey is about like, where can I reclaim that power that I've given away to people who never deserve to hold that power in the first place? Like, where do I really give myself the permission to light up my own life inside out and feel good? Like the bottom line is like actually feeling good about the things that we're doing, because that's long lasting. Like
Mhm.
the external validation is so fleeting, and it's why I think a lot of us who are maybe recovering hustlers, um, are such go-getters, is like to get to that point where you achieve the thing, but we're literally not even stopping to celebrate the achievement. We're just off
Yeah.
to the next goal. It is like a recipe for burnout.
Yeah.
And so I would say that, what does it look like to bring all of that back in and say like, how do I actually want to feel in my life? Like, what do I actually really truly want to do? What feels most aligned? And what am I here to do? Like, what impact am I here to have at the deepest level while honoring how I feel along the way?
Yeah.
Then it's, deciding what that looks like, but also having the space carved in to be celebrating, to be resting. Oh my gosh, like, oh my God, we're so tired in this world.
Yeah.
So it's like actually resting, pausing long enough to breathe and honor the completion of the things.
Yeah. And
Build in a day.
you and I have talked about this, about how even for me, like I don't sit well doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people out there are so busy doing all the things that when they have time to like sit and relax and enjoy, it's like you can't even do it. You sit there and you're like buzzing because you're like, I gotta do something. I gotta do a craft. I gotta
Yeah.
go like make a new business. I got like there's so many things that you are constantly going, or you're just scrolling on social media because you need something
Yeah.
to stimulate you. I
Yeah.
think that in this world we maybe have a little bit backwards.
Yeah. I feel like that's also a bit of a result of the identity being tied into what you do instead of who you are.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's coming back to like the joy isn't just in the successes or this external state. Like that's more what happiness is. Happiness is maybe more associated with like the things or the externals, where joy is like actually who we are. So
Yeah.
instead of it being tied into what we're doing, it's tied into who we are being.
And I think that's a really hard thing. Like, and this is something I've also struggled with, is that who my identity was entirely tied into like what I was doing, how successful I was. And like you'd ask me, oh, how are you doing? And I'd be like, oh, I'm so great. I'm so busy with my clients right now. We've got these events. Like it was never about me.
Yeah.
Right. And then when you actually sit and talk, like I worked with somebody and she was like, okay, well, what about you? Like, what do you enjoy? And I was like, I don't even know. Like my whole life is work and kids, right? Like,
Mhm.
what do I personally enjoy? That is a tough question when you've spent so much time with your identity wrapped around your business
Yeah.
or like what you're doing.
Yeah. I agree.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm exploring that too. Like again, this is a practice. I think the idea that we're going to get to the place where everything's perfect is a fallacy, but the
That'll never
human
happen.
mind wants to just have everything okay.
Yeah.
It's like if you're okay, I'm okay. So we spend so much time making everyone else okay. This was my childhood recovery, right? Like spending so much time and energy making sure that everyone around me is okay so that I feel okay. To me, the true practice of joy, it's a daily practice, because what it does is it supports us in feeling okay, in spite of life doing what life does, which is never going to be always okay.
Yeah.
Like I don't think we came into this realm, the earth realm or the human realm, to just make everything perfect. We actually came to experience contrast, because in law of attraction, contrast is step one in manifestation. So I feel
Hmm.
like we came here to be co-creators, to realize our role as the deliberate designers of our lives. And some of us get swept up in that it's all about the doing. And there's something so great about the fact that like we're actually on the right track. Like we
Mhm.
realize that we're co-creators. As entrepreneurs, we're owning that. It's like, yeah, I get to create whatever I want. So I'm going to be creating all of the time, but
Yeah.
it's not honoring our energy along the way. So it's, what does it look like to just dial it back? Like
Yeah.
dial it back, de compartmentalize or deprogram those pieces of us that believe that that is a representation of who we are or our goodness, right? Like,
Yeah.
or our lovability or our worthiness or enoughness. It's like we get to actually now pull that apart so that we get to show up in co-creation.
Yes.
What do I want to create? And be in alignment with my joy at the same time.
Oh, this is my favorite topic ever because I fully believe that one, we get to design our lives and our businesses. And I feel like I've definitely done that with like the whole shifting of this new business into social media and creating the business that fit what I wanted, fit my lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I think that's really, really impactful. But I think we also get to design what is success for us. Does that mean it's strictly just business? Does that mean that maybe there's more family time involved? Maybe that means that I get to take Fridays off. Like,
Yeah,
there's so
girl.
much that we can create and design in our lives and businesses. And so I really love this topic because it's not something that like everyone can do it. I know there's like the 9 to 5 and that seems like you're stuck in those walls, but we get to choose what we want and how much work we put in and how much our like how our business is formatted and shaped.
Yes.
And I think that's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I agree. It is a gift. Like it is so fun. It's so fun until it's not so fun. But what I would ask is, I think what I'm hearing, the message is coming through around that this is not one and done. Like,
No.
so as entrepreneurs, we get to like, I mean, so all of us are co-creators. Doesn't matter if you're in a job or, in a business, whatever that looks like. Or maybe you're co-creating children. Like there's like so many variations of what this looks like. Like I just don't see it as just the business, and I know you don't either.
Yes.
So it's like coming back to why we started this in the first place. Like, why did you start it in the first place? And I think sometimes it's like it's almost like a snowball that gets momentum, and then you're going, and it's like when you first start out in business, you're so excited about the busyness because it means like that it's viable. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm onto something. Like now I'm getting profitable and money's coming in and there's abundance. And so you're now hiring support or team. And now you need more money to come into like all these pieces. And then you're just going and you're doing. And it
Yeah.
feels like success because you're proving that your purpose in the world is purposeful. Like
Yeah.
there's a need for what you're sharing and serving. But then it's coming back to, but why did I start this in the first place? And I know
Yeah.
most women and men, everyone, most people I work with men, women and men, they start like they do this for freedom, but we are
Yes.
incarcerated by ourselves. When you
Yeah.
get to the point where you're always busy, you're always working, it's always
Yeah.
work. And I am at fault for this too. Like the challenge for me is that my work is literally joy. So joy literally like takes me out of alignment with joy sometimes.
Yeah.
And so this year I've been really like every year for the past few years, I've been really working this muscle of white space and rest and really like carving it in, like, carving in the pieces that I love, which is adventure and travel and like just simple in between moments. Right.
Yeah.
So it's coming back to, I feel like you probably started your business to actually have time freedom with your family.
For sure.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden
Yeah.
you feel like annoyed with your family because they're interfering with your business.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I gotta get this done. We'll do something afterwards. Let me just finish this email or whatever it happens to be. Yeah. And then you start to realize that that's not how it should be.
Yeah.
You should be able to. Okay, one of my favorite memories growing up is I would come home after school and my mom would be at the desk because they owned a construction company. And so they would be at the desk working. She'd be in the office. And every time I would come home, I'd go up and I'd sit with her. And she would stop whatever she's doing and turn around and talk to me and ask about my day. And like, it was just, I was important to her.
Yeah.
Not yeah, the work is what provided for us. But our relationship stopped everything. And I think that that was such a incredible memory, but also such a way to build your own life
Yeah.
so that your work is supporting your goals and your dreams and your family and the freedom that you want, not like going into the things
A
that you
life
wanted.
first business, a life
Yeah.
first business, a joy first business.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta say joy in
Mm-hmm.
every fucking sentence. Oops, I said F bomb.
Okay, so for people that want to bring more joy into our daily lives and businesses and like stop feeling so overwhelmed, what are some like practices that they can start to bring in?
I love that question. So I call it like a joy ritual or an actual joy practice. And it would be whatever feels good for you. For me, daily meditation is a must because it supports me in being able to get really still and start the day with my energy instead of outside in. So that is something I really recommend, whether it's like 5 or 10 minutes. Even if you only have 1 minute, it's better than nothing, I feel. The next one is obviously joy journaling. And the joy journal is it's got the joy method built into it, so it's guided prompts to support your alignment, to remind you that like the mind is actually a magic wand when we use it powerfully and focus it on what we want to experience, and seeing the things that are happening to us that or that are for us, but the things that are happening that we don't love or are feeling icky or we don't like, using that as the clarity of what we want instead. So waking up each morning with gratitude. What am I grateful for? Where are my blessings? What do I want to experience today? And what is like 1 to 3 inspired actions to support me in aligning with that today? In the new edition of the Joy Journal, the leadership edition, it's kind of like a planner and a daily ritual built into one. Because again, I feel like we need to bring in all aspects of ourselves. It's not just about the business, but it can very easily become so business heavy that we're stuck in the doing. So it's bringing along how you want to feel along the way. What are those needle movers that are going to actually support you in feeling how you want to feel? So meditation, daily joy journaling, I recommend. And then whatever else is helpful. Like, I mean, movement is always helpful. There's like so many other things. I mean, I
Yeah.
like lemon water, friggin', like all the things. Like if I asked you, Jen, what sets you up for an amazing day? What are those things?
So I've just started working out regularly every morning. And originally I would be like, no, I'm too busy. I got to get so much done.
Yeah.
And so then I would skip it. And now I'm working out and it's like, it's not a full hour, but it's like an hour time block that you need to put in every morning.
Hmm.
And I even started doing this after I dropped the kids off. So before, my rule was it had to be done before 7 a.m. or else it interfered with work. And so I wouldn't allow that. But then I got just so tired that I just couldn't do it. But now I've started doing it like it cuts into my work day. And so I start work later. But the interesting thing is, I feel so much better and I get the exact same amount of work done,
Yes.
right?
So,
Like,
yes, this is so key. So, what
mhm,
you said there as well, it's coming through strong to share, is like this is not one and done. Your business and your daily practice is going to change because we're all
mhm,
shifting and growing and changing. So, what does it look like to meet ourselves in those shifts and then and be more fluid with like the setup of your day? Like, so now you've changed your day to support your joy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So we all need to be doing this, like looking at what is working, what isn't working. I also work out
yeah,
almost every day, 4 days a week. And for a while there, it was feeling like it was thieving my joy. I was like, I'm doing this for energy, but I'm feeling more tired because the way in which I was doing things. So also needing to
yeah,
tweak things. Like, this is why I want to check in every day, every week with where am I feeling in or out of alignment so that I can actually take inspired action and shift things back into the feeling good space.
yeah. Well, and the interesting thing is, I felt a lot of guilt about not working out in the morning, like first thing before I drive the kids and stuff. But and then cutting into my work day, like I always started work at 9, right? Like that was when I was in the office, and then with starting my workout at 9, it kind of made me feel like I was not doing enough,
Right.
right? Like I was not putting in my time enough for my business to grow. Um, but really, like I was so burnt out, there was no way I was getting up earlier to work out. And so then I wasn't doing it, and then I wasn't allowing the workouts after. And then you're just in this spiral of not feeling good and not getting like your energy back. And it was just really important. So I think it's really, really important for people to realize that they need to make these adjustments. They can create the life and business they want based on what they value. Um, but don't feel guilt over it. Like,
Yeah.
really appreciate and allow yourself to play with it. Maybe it doesn't actually work out. But I mean, for me, if I'm creating the same amount of work, like I'm getting the same amount done, whether I keep that hour or not in the office, why would you not take care of yourself and
Yes.
feel better?
I feel like you've so identified. So in the joy method, the feelings are number one. Like step
Hmm.
number one is to like allow for the feelings. And so instead of just allowing guilt to drive your joy bus off the friggin' cliff, like for instance, if you just felt guilty, so then you go back to a schedule that doesn't actually support you or your energy. Like, do you see how that could
Yeah,
be
I've been doing
unhelpful?
that for years.
Yeah. So then it's okay. I feel guilty about this. Oh, interesting. What is this here to show me? Like,
Hmm.
what is the guilt here to show you? The guilt isn't here to drive the bus. The guilt is here to deprogram the belief that's actually keeping you stuck, stagnant, burnt out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, because my expectation was you should be in the office from this time to this time. And that's when you should be like, you need to focus on your business. And I was totally burnt out and it was not helping me. It was not helping my growth whatsoever because I had no energy to grow anything else. I was not pulling in anything because I was so burnt out. My energy, my vibe was like, nope, you can't handle anymore as it is. So we're
Yeah.
not going to give you any more business. Like, we're not going to help you grow because you can't do it. You can't manage it.
Yeah. So this is like flow over force.
Hmm.
So that's what I would be calling in for all of us is where can we invite more flow over force? I'm the same way, when I'm in launch mode or whatever it looks like, whatever I think I should be doing, I can feel the force. Like I can feel the tiredness in my eyes, like the
Yeah.
stinging eyes, the like throaty throat, the fatigue throat, and then like you're just like forcing yourself to do, and then I'm like, no, like pause, stop, rest, do something else, have a nap, like do whatever you've got to do. Because remember at the beginning when we said like joy is actually alignment with how you most want to feel?
Yeah.
There is nothing more powerful than aligned energy. So
Yeah.
when we show up and do the work in alignment, when we're in the energy to do the work, like as a manifester, this is money to time,
Yeah.
right? And you could accomplish 10 times more what you could do from a force state.
Yeah.
So inviting in flow, work out, take a day off, stop work, stop pushing, stop forcing. So alignment with who we really are, alignment with joy means we get to allow what is no longer working to fall away so that we can step back with our true nature, which is joy and love and peace and like all the good vibes.
Yeah.
So, what isn't working? What's ready to fall
Hmm.
away? Try a new way. Get excited about co creating another way.
Yeah. And we can all do this at any point in our lives, in our businesses, and we will. Like, you cannot stay stagnant forever and just expect things to continue growing.
Yeah.
You need to evolve and adjust and really listen to your body and
Yeah.
listen to how you're feeling and your energy.
And I would say, and Jen, I feel like you'll back me up on this. Like, if you're not, if your business isn't where you want it to be, if the profits aren't happening, the abundance is not flowing in, if you're in scarcity for any reason, I would say look at your own energy first.
Yeah.
How are you truly feeling?
Yeah.
If you're in depletion, if you're in a deficit, like, of course you're going to be in a deficit financially. Like, how we do money is how we do everything, but I could say the reverse. How we do our energy is how we experience everything. So if
Yeah.
I'm in a deficit energetically, is that screaming, pour it, come on in?
No. No.
So so even if we're showing up on doing all the things we should, showing up on social, making all our carousels, doing all the reels, if your energy is not in alignment, you're not going to have the impact you're here to have.
Yeah. I 1,000% agree.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like such a painful thing to figure out because when you're in like the deficit, you're pushing harder
Yes.
because you want to fill that. Like, you want whatever the void is that you're trying to fill, the financial void, the energy void, whatever it happens is you're pushing yourself harder. The success of having a fully launched mastermind or something like that, right? You're pushing yourself so much harder and it's coming across in all of your everything you're putting out, and
Yeah.
it just doesn't magnetize people to you. And the world just doesn't respond to it.
Yeah.
Sometimes the world will just like give you things and you're like, that was like so perfectly timed. And like I said, I created more space for myself to enjoy my life a little bit more. And in return, I ended up getting like a client without even like going out and pitching anyone.
Yeah.
And every time this happens, one, it always seems to happen when I'm going on vacation, probably because I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But I just think that your energy is totally shifted and you are just like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like what came through when you were speaking, it was like feeling into the energy of the desperation to confirm our enoughness or our worthiness, right?
Hmm.
Like that would be the hustle versus knowing that who you are by nature is more than enough. Your worth is invaluable. And
Yeah.
so, what would it look like instead to know that you are like whole and complete and this friggin' joy beam that gets to come in now and co create with excitement and energy
Yeah.
and allow for these things to come in, not because you need them to happen to prove your worthiness, but because it's like aligned with your soul purpose,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, that makes me just feel like the when you said that, it just makes my heart just feel like, oh, like
Right?
it's a breath of fresh
Like
air, and you
chill.
get to just, yeah, you
Yeah.
get, it feels so good.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
have the, I have so once a year I do my joy facilitator certification. We're in launch mode now, but like
Yeah.
I don't even feel like I'm launching. I just feel like,
Oh.
well, because actually, you know what I've realized is we have we just graduated a new class of joy leaders. So
Hmm.
I've been in celebration energy and literally just sharing like my true joy of these beautiful leaders who are now out in the world going to be sharing their light.
Yeah.
So that feels really exciting. I feel like I've been shooting in the background. I'm like, oh, I should, oh, I should, oh, I should.
Hmm.
But instead, I've just been like playing with just feeling good. Literally, like today, I decluttered a closet. That felt so good. I'll probably get a new client later on. Like, I seriously, this
Yeah.
is how it works.
Yeah.
Like,
It
it's
is.
not related to like what you're pushing or what you're forcing. It's like focusing on like what actually feels good. So, I did a
Hmm.
workshop on Saturday and one of the people like self-identified themselves as a joy. She's like, I've been following you, and it's the first time I met you in person, and like I think I meant to be a joy facilitator. And I'm like, F yeah, you are. Like, that's how easy it
Yeah.
gets to be. It wasn't related to any post or any particular thing that I did. It was literally like me showing up in aligned energy. So
Yeah.
it just that confirms what I already know to be true is our energy is the thing that matters the most. If we make joy our number one job, then everything gets to
Yeah.
unfold with ease and flow
Hmm.
instead of the F word, force.
Okay. So my next question was the Joy Facilitator program. So I'm actually really excited for you to dive into that because that's launching May 5th, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. So
good
can you
idea.
tell us more about it?
Yeah, sure. The Joy Facilitator program, it feels like my legacy work. Like it was something that was brought into my field right when I started doing joy sessions. I was doing joy sessions with Lululemon way back. I think it was 2018. It was the first time I was doing them like really publicly. And someone came up after and said, will you teach me how to do this? And I was like, what? I don't even know what I'm doing. Like I was just starting out.
Hmm.
But that seed was planted back then. Her name was Pam. And a few years later, it was around 2020, I felt the call. So again, as a manifester, I need to follow, like I don't need to, but I'm invited to follow my creative urges. And it was like, okay, it's time because I could feel like how much the world needs this work, but I'm
Hmm.
only one person. So I didn't even create the program. I literally just launched it and very quickly I had people signing up. I remember one morning I woke up and to like $10,000 in my bank account. Like cha-ching, someone just like paid in
Yeah.
full. And I was like, whoa, it was so awesome. But then January came around and I actually didn't have the energy to do the program because hustle.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't ready. Like I wasn't ready. It wasn't aligned. It would have been forced
Hmm.
if I would have gone for it. So I
Yeah.
de-launched. And then I just waited and a lot of things happened to give it right timing. So about a year later I relaunched and filled it up. So the facilitator program itself, we're now in our fifth intake of the facilitator program. Thank you. It's really around like it's a 9-month program. It's a deep, deep program to support the embodiment of joy in your work, your life, your community. I believe that joy leadership, the new era of leadership is really like more around modeling. It's like inside out work. It's how am I showing up and what does it look like to inspire those around me instead of rescuing or, needing to control or micromanage. And so, yeah, people come in for 9 months. You learn 9 different joy session workshops that are yours to take and teach and use as is, or integrate into your own work in your own way. It feels very like flowing, this program, because I'm not super regimented on like what everyone needs to do with it. It feels like everyone's meant to really integrate um and share in ways that feel right for them, like authentically and genuinely out in the world. Like we've got so many different types of people doing the joy sessions now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we do the soulful branding, we do marketing, we do facilitator development. You learn mindfulness, meditation, joy session meditations, law of attraction, positive psychology, like everything that is in the joy sessions is taught. And then also we deeply go through every step in the joy method. So it's like I've thought about making it shorter and I can't. Like I just can't. And every student who graduates is like, "Oh my God, it's over already." It's wild how time flies, but it really
Yeah.
feels like the birthing of joy through ourselves into the world. Very embodied, integrated experience. Yeah.
Well, and I feel like this could be for so many people because one, you could I just want to be a joy facilitator. Um, or like it could be HR could send somebody in there and that could be part of their like business mandate, right?
Yeah.
Or it could even be like a CEO of a company and then they want it to trickle down all the way down through the company. And so they're taking that step first to bring joy and infuse joy throughout the whole company.
Yeah.
I think that there's so much opportunity for this to grow like from personal all the way up to corporate. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, thanks, Jen. I so appreciate that. It feels exciting, and it feels like now we're having people come in through not it's not directly related to me, my marketing. It's like it feels like the energy in the world, and more of
Mhm.
that magnetic attraction energy, which is what I'm here for, because that means we get to just show up, mind our own energy, mind our own focus, do what we're here to do, and then call in those who need our medicine, and it's
Yeah.
happening. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. And I think you're right. I think that the energy of the world has really shifted into not being like the hustle culture and to being go, 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 and has moved into more of a let's like just really enjoy life.
Yeah.
Let's create the lives we want and make sure that we're like setting ourselves up for that.
Yeah, and honor how we are feeling along the way.
Hmm.
Honor how
Yeah.
we are feeling. Honor what like truly matters to us at every level, not just in the business realm. Knowing and trusting that like profitability, like everything lines up when we're feeling as good as we can possibly feel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Anytime I've like really hustled or tried to push something, most of the time those go flat. It's when it like just feels good the whole way through of the planning and launching, and that's when it's successful. So I think that's a really big thing where you're really bringing like your energy and your joy and your passion and excitement.
yeah.
That's what leads to success, and you cannot share that if you're in lack.
Yeah, and I want to actually celebrate you, because what's really important to know about joy is the biggest thing. Two things that joy requires are courage, and compassion. And well, three things. There's probably more things, but curiosity is also helpful because it brings in that lightness.
Yeah.
But I just really want to celebrate your courage for being willing to release the hustle and the things that are no longer working, to support that alignment in yourself and make those shifts. Like to me, that is like badass leadership. And I love you and your energy in the world and what you're doing. And I think like you're carving out not only a new way for those around you, but like for your family too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not an easy thing. Like I was luckily not like sick or anything, but just did not have the energy to even keep up anymore.
Yeah.
And it's definitely still like a struggle to every day, like choose joy and choose to be slower. Like it feels as a hustle person or as like a manifesting generator who's so like loves building and creating and doing things,
Yeah.
it's very hard for me to just be like, I'm fine. I'm doing great. Celebrate where I'm at. And it feels really good, but it does. They contradict a lot because I'm like, I should do this. I should do this. And they're like, no, stop. You're
Yeah.
supposed to slow down right now. It feels good to slow down. So lean into the feeling good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that
Yeah.
I can you just sense how courageous that is to meet those edges. And the joy work, like my intention when I first started out was it felt like supporting people in waking up to a life they love. Because I also was in a job, like jobs I didn't love. I was doing the work that I'm now teaching back then, manifesting like my life now, which also I get to tweak all the time if it's not feeling super aligned. So, but it's really this like vision of waking up into a life that you love. Like, you know how when you're a kid, you wake up on Saturday, you're like, oh my God, it's a Saturday. Like
Yeah.
we get to feel like that as adults, but we're the ones, like we are the CEOs of our lives. So
Yeah.
it's how do I design my life so that I love all aspects of it, not just one, or feeling like I have to sacrifice in different areas for one area specifically. It's no, we get to feel good in all of it. So yeah, yeah.
This conversation was so good. So I have one more question for you. And that is like, so if somebody who's right now is feeling a little bit disconnected, they don't feel like they're living in their joy, what is one small action that they can take now to start shifting their mindset?
I would just like honestly ask, what do you want to experience? Like,
Hmm.
what do you, because especially when we're not feeling good, we can spend a lot of time focusing on what's not feeling good.
Hmm.
And what happens is we expand more of what's not feeling good. So I would
Yeah.
just invite a moment or a bit of time to sit with the heart and just ask, like, what do I truly want to experience? And then for me, it's just like, what is one inspired action to begin to create momentum toward that thing, whether it's big or small? It doesn't have to be massive. It doesn't even have to be a physical action. Maybe it's releasing a limiting belief,
Yeah.
or maybe it is something specifically action related. But what is one inspired action to support you in feeling a little bit better in moving toward that experience? And then we start to feel empowered. And
Yeah.
then this is how I treat every single day. I ask those questions in the Joy Journal and in the Joy Method. And it's how we live in alignment and in an empowered state, remembering
Yeah.
that we are the ones deliberately designing. And, there's so much built in power there to create lives that we do truly feel excited to wake up to.
Ooh, so good. Okay, so I think we're ready to wrap up because we've had a lot of conversations. Although this was like the best. I just like right to my heart and my
Mm.
soul. This was the best conversation ever, like
Known
ever.
to man.
um, and so, what is one piece of advice that you would leave our audience with?
Um, it feels like a message around compassion, like and celebration. It just feels like, where are you winning? Like to
Hmm.
really take a moment, and even if you haven't yet this year, like write down all of your successes, write down all of the things that you've accomplished. Really give yourself credit for how far you've come. Really tend to that energy, because that energy alone, when you see how far you've come, the things that you've actually created, when you can step into that celebration energy, you can start to raise the vibration and invite in more abundance, more flow simply with your focus. And I also just think we overlook ourselves so often. Like, and because we are often hustling and doing to get that approval, what would it look like to stop, take 10
Yeah,
minutes or a half an hour to like congratulate yourself
yeah,
and then
yeah. That's
celebrate yourself. So like I'm like, what could you do to literally celebrate yourself and how far you've come and every step that you've taken to get to right here, right now, which is like a divine moment of opportunity.
so beautiful. Okay, and where can people find you?
Well, here and there.
All over.
So I'm pretty much everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Jillian Schecher. I also have a free Facebook community, the Joy Club. And yeah, people can sign up for that and you get weekly love notes from me straight to your inbox, just little reminders from my heart to yours.
Yeah, you know what? I really, like I've said this over and over, this really was like the most powerful conversation. And I really hope that our listeners even just take one thing from this and implement it into their daily lives. But also follow you because you're pretty amazing
I'm
and you are
Mel.
just you are and you're just this like ball of energy and happiness and love. And I just people need more of you in the world. Like
Thank
you
you,
are
Jen.
incredible and what you're teaching is so powerful and everybody needs it, whether they want to admit to it or not, or want to, or still in that hustle culture or ready. Like they're like, yes, this is exactly what I needed.
Hmm.
I think that this conversation and you are just so powerful and
Mm.
people need to really, really listen and implement because their lives could be so much more spectacular. Like they're you probably already have all incredible lives, people who are listening to this, but there's just so much more joy, celebration, life, and energy available to you. And so I think this is powerful.
Thank you, Jen. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm so excited. And I'm so happy that we get to do this together in the world. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That episode was so good, like so good. I just loved this conversation so much. And so I wanted to give you some key takeaways that I had from this conversation that I just felt like such a huge impact. So, one, we talked a lot about hustle culture, and I think that is such an important thing to discuss because we live in such a world where we should be doing this, we should be doing that. This is the next thing we have to do, the next step. We should launch this way. We should do like whatever it is. We just put so much pressure on what we need to do and what we want to do. And also we tie in that whole like lack into it as well. And it burns us out and it takes us down from the powerful position we could be in our business. And so I think really looking at, are you doing too much in your life to a point where it doesn't feel aligned and good and healthy for you? And how can we adjust that? How can we bring more joy into that? So I love the idea of bringing that feeling in to our actions and our strategies and also into our celebrations. And just saying, you know what, maybe instead of hustling, like for me, like I've said in the podcast, maybe instead of hustling so hard, I implement more time for self-care, such as working out in the morning and allowing that to cut into my office hours. But really, the result has been so, so incredible. So I want you to really think about, how has hustle culture affected you? And how can you shift your mindset to lead with more success or bring in more success without the burnout? Because it really isn't sustainable. And when we take ourselves out of that hustle culture and that constantly doing and going, we actually open up opportunities for things to come to us, to be magnetized to us. So that was one of my first takeaways because it was such a prominent discussion topic on our conversation. The other one is that joy is something we could implement into all of our lives. Like we can bring a strategy to that. Instead of like, for me originally, it was like, okay, well, what brings me joy? But instead of just like thinking about what brings me joy and bringing more into that, how can I bring joy into more of the things that I'm doing? So how can I create these goals and dreams for myself, but think about the joy feelings that you get along the way. So it's not just about this like check mark, yes, I've got it done. And instead we are saying, okay, well, I want to feel the pride and the celebration, the success, and really like thank yourself for doing that versus like, yep, check, moving on our way. When you really think about that feeling, it kind of gives you like an extra why and an extra reason to go forward. And then also just like really sitting in that moment and going, oh, it feels amazing. I feel so much happier. I feel freer, whatever it is. And then living in that moment versus moving on to the next thing that we have to do. And then the last one, my last key takeaway was to celebrate. We do not do this enough. I'm so guilty for this. And yes, I'm recovering celebrator, whatever that would be. But I've started to really celebrate my wins and really like appreciate what I've accomplished, because it's so easy again to go for that check mark and then continue on and not be like, you did this and you did an incredible job, well done, and really like celebrate everything, because we're creating a life by our design and how we want it to look. And we are pushing ourselves to have this amazing, beautiful life for our family, for ourselves, for travel, for freedom, whatever it is. Let's celebrate each and every win. Not only because it's amazing to celebrate, but also because doesn't it feel really good to actually give yourself the accolade for doing something that is powerful and incredible? So make sure you're always celebrating and like listen to this episode maybe multiple times. This is one I think you're going to want to save because it really has been so impactful in just what you can do for your life, for yourself, for your family, for your friends, for everyone around you. Your energy is going to magnify and that is going to extend to other people. It's such a ripple effect. So if you like this episode, make sure and save it because you're going to want to listen to it again, but also share it. Tag me on social media, tag Jillian. We would love to know what you thought and to have more eyeballs on this, because who doesn't want to have more joy in their life? So thank you again so much for joining me today. If today's episode resonated with you, I want you to take action. Get your tickets to the Be Bold Conference 2025 on October 7th at the Whitewood Barn and surround yourself with bold women in business who get you, who support you, and who are there to help you learn from top speakers like Jillian. This isn't just a conference. This is a space for you to walk away with a game plan for growth, success, and for designing a life that truly lights you up. So I want you to head to the link in the show notes, grab your ticket, tell a friend, and just come and join us because we're going to create something truly incredible together, and I really want to see you there. So until next time, have a wonderful day.